recording, ladies and gentlemen. I am JDUBBS, your host. This is JK'z Rewatchable Hour. Tonight, I am joined, as usual, by the one and only Vivacious Becky. It was really funny. I started writing down nicknames. I apologize. The Vivacious, Becky. I'm stuttering as usual. And then we got the extravagant Miss Jacqueline Lynch, and we got forever the nice, kind-hearted Mr. George Muzzy. And I'm
all right.
How y'all doing? Good. You guys doing good?
Good. Yeah.
Yo, what's up, crew?
Just so all our listeners know, drinking heavily before the show. But so tonight, it's going to be a first for our show for JK'z Rewatchable Hour. We are actually going out of our comfort zone. We are going to talk about unsolved mysteries, which is another good topic that George had come up with. We're going to talk about a certain situation that happened in the small town where we're from. I, for one, do not have a lot of knowledge, and I researched a little bit. Just so all of our listeners are prepared right offhand, we are going to talk about the 1985 murder of one Kristen O'Connell in the small town of
O'Connell.
Oh, okay. Sorry, O'Connell. Sorry. I'm kind of nervous just saying that name. That's why. It happened in 1985. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to George, who has more in-depth knowledge and research. Mr. Muzzy?
Okay. This is the timeline from when Kristen met a local Ovid, New York man in Florida. Kristen meets James Vermersch on spring break on Captiva Island in Florida in March of 1985. On August 11th, Kristen travels to Boston alone, is picked up by an associate of her father's, and stays the night with them. On the day of the 12th, they travel, a family friend drives her on a 5-hour trip to the Shoppingtown Mall in DeWitt, New York. There, she meets James and a friend who drives them back to Ovid. At 11:28 a.m. the following morning, August 13th, Kristen walks to the local Big M to buy Band-Aids for her ankles. I don't know why that's in there. They never mention anything about it again. At 8 p.m., Kristen, James, and some other friends go to a movie. On the 14th at 1 p.m., Kristen, James, and some friends go swimming at Lodi Point State Park. Later, police reports say that they overheard John's friends bad-mouthing Kristen. At 3 p.m., while still at Lodi Point, Kristen calls her mother to say that she's cutting her trip short and sounded upset, but she didn't say why. Later, about 5 p.m. at the lake, James and some friends see a local kid joyriding in a vehicle, and they confront him and start to mess with him. Kristen tells him to stop harassing the boy. 9 p.m. that evening, Kristen, James, and others go to another friend's house to play pool. They stay for about an hour and then return to the trailer that they were staying in. Kristen asked one of the girls in the trailer why James invited her and now basically is ignoring her. She says, well, James has a girlfriend now, and that's probably what changed things. At 11:30, Kristen leaves for a walk barefoot and leaves her purse. At 11:40, James says, I'm going to Ovid to get pizza from the local pizza shop, Buster's. he returns at 11:45 and discovers that Kristen has left barefoot and left her purse. 12:15 a.m., two witnesses state that they see a girl walking along West Seneca Street. Also observed a car slowly following her with a man in the passenger seat talking to her out the window. At 12:15 a.m., at 12:15 a.m., two kids in the trailer are concerned that Kristen hasn't returned. They go out to look for her. At some point, hear a scream, but couldn't figure out which way it came from. A nearby resident also heard the scream, but assumed it was coming from a local bar, the Golden Buck. At 12:50, witnesses report hearing three terrifying screams coming from a farmer's lane about 700 feet to the south. Shortly after, heard a vehicle start and begin driving away, but see no headlights. About 100 feet later, the headlights come on and are bouncing, are bouncing on the dirt unstable road. Approximately 1 a.m. is the approximate time of death determined later. At 1:30 a.m., two local kids seen walking east on County Road 139 toward the village, close to where Kristen is found. James states at 2 a.m., James states that him and one other kid go out and search for her. At 9 a.m., James says that he attempted to contact the police, but he has no phone in the trailer. At 1 p.m., he finally contacts the police. New York State Trooper take a missing persons report from James, and gets Kristen's ID. Due to heavy rain, they don't start searching until the following morning. 1 a.m., two local residents report seeing flashlights in the cornfield where Kristen is later found. At 8 a.m., the search begins near the trailer. At 8 a.m., also, the New York State Police take statements from the kids in the trailer and do a search of her belongings. At 5:11 p.m., Kristen's naked, rain-soaked body is found in the cornfield less than a quarter mile away from the trailer she was staying in. She suffered multiple stab wounds in the chest, and her throat was slit. No alcohol was in her blood and no signs of drugs. And the coroner later decides that there's no signs of sexual assault. At 10:30 a.m., the police and private investigators research the crime scene and find no weapon. At 4 p.m., the PIs informed to be on the lookout for a blue Fiat with Florida license plates. Two males were heard at the Golden Buck the night before saying, "We should have cut her up and put her in the lake." They were wearing work clothes and had hunting knives on their belts. On August 23rd, 6 days later, a tip is received by the New York State Police to look at a green Chevy on Main Street, Waterloo. Open the trunk, you'll find what you need. The caller said, "I'm getting out of town because I told him not to do it." Call was released to police 10 years later, released to the public 10 years later. November 1st, 2007. Crime analyst handling Kristen's evidence cited for misconduct. His findings were used by prosecutors and jurors to send people to jail. However, a state investigator found that in 1/3 of all cases, there were serious problems, in quotations, with all of his evidence. June 30th, 2009, Seneca County investigators, along with the DA's office, victim's family, New York senator and Minnesota senator, which is where she was from, team up to get DNA tested by a renowned team based in Amsterdam. It was offered $40,000 to help in these efforts. New York State Health Department blocked those efforts. August 12, 2019, $10,000 reward is offered by Seneca County DA's office. 2020, in August of 2020, O'Connell's lawyer works with New York State Police to get DNA tested. In 2022, the reward was doubled to 40,000. That's it. That's up to date. That's everything that they had in the timeline.
I forgot that. So what you just read is the actual timeline, not
timeline, right from when they met, right up until the latest as of present date.
Right. And those are the facts, and it's not made up. That is not made from George.
No. Those are actual facts. Yep. Parts of it that don't make any sense to me is at 11:30, Kristen goes for a walk. At 11:40 is when he leaves to go get the pizza. Why didn't he know she was gone at 11:40? If she left 10 minutes, if she left 10 minutes before.
That trailer, a regular sized trailer either. I don't know if you have ever seen it. I think it's gone now.
Yeah, I think so. I think it is, but
it had one bedroom was actually kind of like a hallway, and then there was another bedroom. There's a bathroom, and the living room and kitchen were kind of like an open area. So it was a very small trailer. And
it's not big.
And the reason I know that is a couple years after this all happened, a friend of mine had moved in there because her father lived there, and she left Texas with her mom and went to go live there with her dad. So
and the other part of the timeline that's real confusing, at 11:40 he leaves to go get pizza. 5 minutes later he returns. Now we're not talking 2024. You go in, you either have to pay in cash, check, or maybe credit card. Maybe. If you have a credit card.
That was also back in 1985, and
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
That was when Martin A. House still owned it before he sold it to Phil Doherty. The only reason I mentioned that was Martin A. House still owned Buster's at the time.
Might be. I'm not sure. I don't remember when
he was all cash and check.
Yeah.
He was all cash.
So,
he was all cash.
So we're not talking.
He knew you.
Yeah. So we're not talking. Walk in, slide your card, and walk out.
Right.
And it only took him. It only took him 5 minutes. The following morning, he claimed at 9 a.m. to try to contact the police, but it took him 4 hours to get to a phone.
Right. So when you read that, what does attempted? If you don't have a phone,
what did you do? Send up? Yeah. What did you do? Send up smoke signals? I don't know. I don't know what you tried at 9 a.m.
Yeah, and I just noticed that Becky is frozen, so she might be.
Becky has frozen. She is just sitting there.
But so 1980. Yeah.
Yeah,
so
you're frozen.
1985. Ovid was there was several bars. There was pizza shops. I was only 10 years old. Again, I have no knowledge, no nothing. But like George and Becky said, it's not 2024. You just don't walk in. You already paid online, or you swipe your card, or you ordered.
Right.
So,
and not to mention, if she was walking at 11:30, wouldn't they have seen her when they when they went up to Ovid? Because the
Well,
reports say that the
buck
reports
is
say
at
she
the
was
corner.
walking in town.
I thought
Um,
she was walking down towards Argus, where Argus's was.
I'm not sure. It
Whereas
didn't
she
say.
went, towards Willard, where they went uptown towards up the main street.
Well, the only part of that is because of where the car was seen. Where was the car seen? I gotta look now. Because it says a car at, what was it, 1215 on Seneca Street. Where's Seneca Street?
That's
No,
over.
the book is on that. That's
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
Jeff and I used to
Yeah.
live.
Yeah, that's where at 1215 she was seen walking, and the car was next to her. Well, they didn't say her necessarily. It was a girl.
So again, I'm not gonna pretend like I have this detective background because I don't. But I stated I don't know much about this case. I was only 10. You said that there was all of these tips about a certain vehicle.
Yeah, there was
in-
about two different cars. There were two different vehicles that were on it.
Again, I'm just speculating. Hey, Jackie, welcome back. Back in 1985, what was the make of the car? I forgot. You said a Fiat.
Well, the one was a Fiat, a blue Fiat, and then the other one was just had a Chevy.
Okay.
Didn't say what it was. It just said Chevy.
Again, I'm just speculating. And if somebody watches this and they are offended, I want to apologize. We're just trying to help. But it's 1985. It's not like everybody had a Fiat, that particular color with Florida plates, right? Am I?
Yeah.
If I remember
in New York.
Okay.
Yeah, in New York.
So it's not like, I mean, every time I drive my Colorado, I see 3 other Colorados. So back in 1985, a Fiat with Florida plates. And the reason why I said that, because the one thing that I researched and I came across is, we all did our research. New York State is not cooperating, right? The state troopers are not cooperating.
Doesn't seem. Yeah, I don't know if it's the state troopers. I don't understand the health department. I don't see where the health department. Why does the health department have anything to do with a murder case? I'm confused about that.
Because it has to do with blood and DNA, which is part of, it could be a biohazard or whatever, and it has to be handled a certain way. And our labs here in New York State obviously can't handle it or haven't been able to.
Right.
And this other company that you saw the TV show that came in and offered to pay for the whole thing for the testing.
Yeah.
The New York State will not allow it. For some reason, the DA right now is dead set against it, and I don't know why.
So that's what I was getting at.
Anytime anything's brought up, it's him saying no, and then the health department listens to him because he's basically the county's lawyer.
He's the boss.
He's the boss, and they're saying, okay, he says no, so we can't do it. And, to me, it doesn't make sense. You'd figure it's been almost 40 years this poor woman's been gone.
Yeah.
And her mother is getting much older. It would be nice for her to have some closure before it's her time. It's
right. Absolutely.
That's not. No, it's not fair to think about, but it would be nice. I mean, her father has already passed away, and he didn't know what happened.
Right.
So it would be nice if New York cooperated, but I don't know what is holding it, other than the DA saying no, we're not doing it.
Right. So with what you're saying, Becky, is so I found this on Wikipedia, and I'm gonna think that it's true because of what you guys just said. So there was a documentary filmmaker by the name of Christopher Pavlik. I hope I pronounced his name right. He offered to solve the case using new forensic testing techniques. However, according to Wikipedia, state police will not cooperate. I think that's right along the lines of what you two were saying about how this individual wanted to help. I don't know. I guess I would like everybody else. Okay, so if somebody was willing to try to help and bring, some closure and try to do whatever, why is there a roadblock? Why is I don't get it. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, it would be nice to get it solved so her mother can have closure.
Right.
That's the only that would be my only reasoning to keep this case open. I mean, it's obvious someone has not come forward, but I mean, a lot of us have heard rumors of it could be this person, it could be that person.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I heard this, I heard that, and I've heard stories, and I can honestly tell you, it happened a couple weeks before I turned 10 years old, and I lived just up the street. I was
Yeah.
one scared little kid at that time, I'll tell you.
Oh yeah.
And
Yeah. Yeah. Because
and I did hear them calling for her that night. And that's all I remember. I remember hearing them because our windows were open. We didn't have air conditioning back then. Our air conditioning was
Oh
sitting
no
in front
no
of the fan. And so all I remember is them hollering at like 2 o'clock in the morning, and me getting mad because I got woken up by these people hooting and hollering outside. I didn't know what they were doing.
Right.
And it was the next day when I was at the post office, and I heard they were looking for a missing girl because of the helicopters and the planes and whatever. I think they brought a helicopter in. And so to me, I'm thinking missing girl. I automatically thought little girl was missing. And,
Right.
And in the village of Ovid, you'd be thinking, there's only so many little kids. So
Right.
my worst thought was, it's one of my friends. And then the next day when she was discovered, it was scary. All of us were talking quietly. We weren't allowed to go anywhere alone. We had to. It was pretty scary for us. And the depot was still open. You had all these weirdos going in and out. And Willard was still the psychiatric center, so we were always on the on edge, worrying about who might come out anyway. So it's just to me, I think New York State needs to get its head out of its butt, basically,
100%.
release this information so this company can help her.
Right.
There's been so many leads. There's so many different case scenarios of they've heard about this person might have done it or that person might have done it. These investigators have investigated every call that comes in, even if it seems insignificant, and even just like little things that I heard. I heard one story when I was 10, and then as I got older, it just became bigger and bigger and bigger. And at one point, one of the private investigators was actually talking to me because I lived right up the street, and it was. I'm like, I don't know anything, And if I had anything to say, I already spoke to the state police. There's nothing I can say. So
I have a question.
My biggest thing is they've got to do that. They've got to release it. They got to cooperate with them. Otherwise, this case is never going to get solved.
Your
question?
Yeah. So my question is, I apologize for cutting off John. And if I heard you correctly, George, you said that 2 guys were in the Golden Buck, and it was stated that these people had said we should have cut her up and put her in the lake. I apologize for repeating that. I know if somebody hears this, I'm not trying to, but is that what you said?
Yes, that's exactly what they were. That's what the statement said that they were overheard saying.
Okay, so my question is,
I've never heard that one.
But the thing is, if I'm not, I don't know if I wrote this down of when it was reported. Yeah, I did. Okay, so it was reported at 4 p.m. On the 17th, because on the let me look here. On the what day am I? On the 15th is when she was killed. On the 16th is when they found her.
48 hours later.
On the 17th is when the call came in, and the call, they stated that last night. Now, you're at the Golden Buck. You hear them say that. What place is open 24 hours a day since before I was born,
No.
the police department, correct?
Right. So
There's somebody
that was
always
like-
there. What does the Golden Buck have? I'm sure they have phones. Back
Yep.
then in 1985, why didn't they call from the bar?
So that's what I was getting at. So we
Yeah.
all used to live in this small town, right? So everybody, I mean, we didn't live in a town with 10,000 people. Everybody knows everybody, and we all travel, so we know that when we're traveling, we stick out like a sore thumb. So when I was listening to this, my first reaction, and I used to bartend a little bit down in Scranton, Pennsylvania. As a bartender, you don't forget certain things. And I would know that if somebody shortly after whatever, or if I heard something that somebody said we should have done this and dumped them in the lake. Again, I'm trying not to repeat stuff just in case somebody is listening. I'm trying to be respectful. My first inclination as that person hearing this is like what George said, to call the police and be like, hey, listen, this guy with the gray beard and long hair, or this woman or whatever, and give a description, because just, I mean, as a bartender, you see everything and you don't see everything. And I was trying to make notes, and to me, that's something that stands out. So if you heard this, and if it is true, like, I don't where's the description? Get a sketch artist.
Why did you wait 3/4? Why did you wait 3/4 of a day to report it?
Right. I mean, again, I'm just saying, I'm sure that by that time frame, there was some news out about something. They had
already found her. At this point, they had already found her. And I know I heard about it, and I lived, strangely enough, I lived about 1/4 mile down the road from where I live now.
Right.
So I'm 5-6 miles outside of town, and we heard it. We heard about it. I believe in the newspaper.
Look at the people that wait 10 to 15 to 20 years to say anything.
Oh yeah, exactly.
I mean, and it's not just cases like
but
this.
if I had heard that, I'm calling right now. I don't care who it is. I mean,
especially because it was in the paper.
My Lord, we got a delivery truck.
Uh-oh. Looks like George is
Kill him.
muted.
No, we got a delivery truck outside.
You could mute your mic, George, if you wanted to.
There you go. All right.
Say,
He's not muted.
say,
Go ahead and mute, George.
it's gone now. The truck's gone.
So
I forgot. I was looking for it on the screen. I forgot I could just touch my thing.
Whoa, it's not that type of a show, man.
It's fairly new. It's
You
only.
can just touch your thing anytime.
Hey,
Yeah,
it's
well,
fairly
you know.
new.
Hey, I wasn't the one who wanted to touch it the other day. Just
I
saying.
have to.
Last week,
Um,
the other
just
day.
just before we go to
Sunday,
commercial
whatever. Sunday. It was
Yeah,
Sunday.
Sunday.
And that was
Yep.
that was that. Yeah.
I missed
Hey.
that one. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you missed it. All right. You definitely
just-
missed it.
I'm just thinking
George,
of the shower.
Jeff was
scene.
trying to sneak things in. George,
He wanted to redo the shower scene. He wanted to redo the shower scene.
All right. So just
Not that one.
no, not that one. Nor-
Well, maybe, but you know.
just before we go to commercial break, just the two things that I took away from, George, thank you for reading that entire timeline, and is,
thank you.
1985, the Fiat with Florida plates, and then this person saying attempted to call with no phone. That's like me saying I'm gonna start my car without my I'm gonna attempt to start my truck without my key. And then
I mean,
these
how do
two
you
men-
not? How do you
Yeah,
not? How do you attempt to make a call? Either you make
That's
a
my
call or
point.
you
Yeah.
don't.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
if you don't,
Like
have
I
the
said,
phone
I mean,
where you are.
Yeah. Was
You
he
can't
sending
tell
up
me-
smoke signals? I don't know.
I mean, at that time, everybody knew everybody back then. I mean, I can tell you everybody that lived on my street at that time, and it's been that long.
Yeah. Yeah, you
He
probably
could've
could have
gone
walked to
to-
the neighbor.
He could have walked next door and knocked on the door across the street, because I know there's a little old lady that lived in a trailer across the street from that trailer who would have let him in and used the phone to call the police. And just about everybody on that street would have let him come in to use the phone. And
Right.
it's just a lot of it seems like a cover up, and I don't know by who. The fact that his father was the Ovid Town Justice at the time kind of raises a red flag. Why how he didn't call sooner? You know, maybe he did get a hold of his dad first, and his dad said, "Don't call anyone yet." You know, we don't know. You know,
Right.
we weren't there. And I mean, I'm not saying he did it because I honestly don't know. I can't blame
Yeah,
him,
I don't either.
Just
I
before
will
we go
I
say-
to,
mean, for
go ahead, Jackie. Go
I
ahead,
just
Jackie.
want to say that I'm kind of surprised. I did not know that it took that long to find her body. I guess I really didn't pay attention to the
Yeah.
timeline.
I mean,
I I was picturing her alongside the road in front of the cornfield and not in the
no, it was
cornfield.
No.
it was in
Yeah.
the cornfield off
Yeah.
the end of
Yeah.
Hawkins Road there.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you know, I heard the story the guy that used to own the captain's house. He had called the police because he went up to the house because he didn't live there, and he saw a bunch of blood all over the sidewalk. And he called the police because he's like, I don't know if something happened up here, maybe a wreck. And they just said it was probably a raccoon or something. And they told him to just go ahead and spray it off. And
Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
before she was actually reported missing. That was
Yeah.
before Jim called. So he was out there with a freaking garden hose spraying it off the sidewalk. And that's at
Right.
the captain's house on Hawkins Road, which was right behind.
I guess that's
Yeah.
why
trailer.
I thought she was found along the road and not in the cornfield.
Right.
'Cause I
Yeah,
thought I heard there was blood and
Because West Seneca Street goes down this way towards Willard, and Hawkins Road cuts this way, so it's kind of like
Yeah.
a triangle, and they meet
Yeah.
down at that cornfield that's now owned by an Amish family.
Yeah.
So it's just it's a little weird, and you know, thinking that it happened that close and nobody knows who it is.
Right. Right.
All these years later, I mean, like I said, I just think New York State needs to get their head out of their butt and let them
do
the testing.
Okay,
No.
hold
The
that.
last-
Hold that thought.
Hold up.
We're gonna take a quick commercial break.
Well,
and I'll
wait.
be
Let
right-
me
Okay, go
say
ahead.
one more thing about the timeline. The other thing that strikes me weird about the timeline, he contacted the state police at 1 p.m. They showed up to take a statement at 4.
Oh, Jesus
Isn't
Christ.
there a state trooper barracks like in Willard?
Yeah. Back then.
And there's also one down. Well, I don't know if it was in 1985. Was at the depot at the airport. I'm not sure if it was in 85, but I know there was one in Willard on the back street in Willard. So how did it take you 3 hours to get to the house? That's 2 miles
tell you
away.
what. Hold that thought. We'll be right back. Commercial break. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back. Oh my God. You guys get crazy during the commercial break. George, why don't you tell everybody what we were talking about the commercial break?
Well, Jeff apparently wants to give a reach around. So,
You tried.
No, I wanted to recreate the
that's
shower scene. So.
well, yeah, but
the shower scene from where? Like
from
2 nights ago?
from who did it? From who did it?
Not that one.
From who did it?
Remember, George? You got felt up in the
The my buddy's wife climbed in the shower with me. Remember?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Who said or did it? Yeah.
Yes.
His buddy's
Yeah.
wife climbed
Yeah.
in the shower with
Oh,
him.
Yeah.
Remember that one?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
got you.
So
Yeah.
Sunday when
Yeah.
we were lining up for a picture, I whispered in his ear, "Can I recreate the shower scene?" All right, everybody. We are back once again after a commercial break with Unsolved. Of course, everybody, he said no, but whatever. I'll just grab it next time. So part 2 of this show, we are going to go away from the first one that we talked about because we were just repeating ourselves as usual. It was obvious. I apologize. So we are going to go on to famous unsolved mysteries. And Mr. George Muzzy, once again, you're up to the podium.
Okay. I'm going to give you
all the great
I'm going to give you
comments.
2 numbers, then I'm going to give you a name. You're going to know the name.
There's a fucking test.
33.
I didn't prepare for this.
No, you don't need to write anything down. You don't need to do any math. 33 and 6. John Wayne Gacy.
Ooh.
All stories say that he killed more than 33 because he admitted, but he never gave any information. Out of those 33, 27 families got closure. 6 of his victims to this day are unidentified. And he was arrested in 1987. No, 1978.
Was he the clown?
Yeah.
He was the clown killer. So 6 of his victims that they found bodies of are unidentified. So there are 6 unsolved murders having to do with him. Or
Oh.
more if he wasn't lying about more than 33.
Or yeah.
And
Yeah.
the basement, right? Or he buried him underneath.
Yeah, he
the
buried
His
he buried
porch.
some of them in the basement under his house, and some of them he threw in the river or lake because they were in Chicago.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I
And he
don't.
was
Is there a
quite
river?
He was quite the guy. He
That's
was all
terrible.
over
Yeah.
the town, and he was
Yeah,
so
yeah.
friendly, and
And he was
a
rich.
clown, and
He was
He
rich.
was
He actually
rich?
knew some. Yeah, he actually knew some politicians and whatnot. There's pictures of him with some politicians,
Oh.
like in Washington and stuff. You know, not like just Chicago politicians. We're talking senators and you know, representatives and all that. So yeah, he was quite famous. And the best
That's
part
good.
about it is about Gacy, and then we'll go on to a different one if you want. Was he was once quoted as saying, "The only thing I should have been arrested for is running an illegal cemetery."
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Under his
Wow.
Under his house, yeah.
Yeah.
thanks
And he
to
also
him.
said and at one point he said, a clown can get away with murder. Well, he did for 6 years,
For a while.
7 years.
Yeah.
How did he get caught?
I can't remember.
I'm not,
Started
I
to
don't
stop.
know. Yeah, I don't know exactly how he found out. I think somebody got away. I think one of his attempted victims got away. I believe.
That could be.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
how Dahmer got caught.
Yeah.
Maybe we're
Yeah,
confusing.
that's definitely how Dahmer got caught.
Yeah.
The guy,
Yeah.
Poor guy ran out of the street.
Yeah.
Completely
Oh yeah,
naked.
yeah, that's right. Yep.
Yeah.
Huh.
All right.
Good one. Good one.
So now
Somebody
we can
else
talk about any that you can think of, Jeff. What ones? I know you mentioned DB Cooper.
Yep. Because I'm fascinated by that one. And so I am prepared.
Is he the one
Prepared.
with the bunch of money?
Yeah.
Yeah. He hijacked the plane.
Yep. So in 1973, this guy gets on a Boeing 727, flying from
Sure.
Portland to Seattle, and he tells this stewardess, "I have a bomb," and they put the plane down. He gets all the passengers off. He stays on. He says he wants $200,000 in ransom. So the FBI, government, whoever, gives him $200,000. He asked for 4 parachutes. So they're up in the air, and so he goes and he jumps out of the plane with a parachute. He disappears with $200,000. And the reason why he's called DB Cooper is because a news anchor called him Dan Cooper.
I think that was the name he used when he bought the plane ticket. Was Dan
Yes.
Cooper.
Yep. And the reason why I'm fascinated about it is because obviously it's the 70s. So this guy just gets on the plane and he gets $200,000. He jumps out in the middle of the night, disappears. A couple years later, people find some money in a Vancouver, Washington river, and the sketch is all the same. But then there's a report that it was actually a woman dressed in, or a man dressed in drag. And after all these years, like they probably just never wanted to release who it really was because it had to have military training. Because who jumps out in the middle of the night? I'm just saying.
Right.
Again, I'm speculating, but you just I don't think you can just jump out at nighttime unless you know what the hell you're doing and where you are. I'm just speculating. Right. And just with all the airport security that was prior to that, everybody there was videos and nobody can find this individual. And I think it's incredible unsolved mystery that somebody just walks on the plane, gets $200,000, jumps off, and like I don't know. I think it's pretty cool.
He just goes about his life.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
And then of course there's all these theories that so the people who found the money, I think it was a father and a son walking. He purposely stashed the money to throw people off, but I don't know. I just think it's really, really. Sorry, my screen went blank. I don't know. It's really weird.
We
You
can
guys
see
still there?
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
We see you.
Okay.
Yep.
So I just think it's really weird that somebody can do that. Obviously, it's the 70s.
Yeah.
But when I was taking notes, I was thinking about something that we talked about last show about the satellite imagery. There were satellites in the 70s, correct?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure.
I mean, I'm just saying. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm just throwing out there what I believe is like, you get on a plane, you jump out with $200,000, and you're never seen again.
Yeah,
pretty
Right.
fucking amazing.
Right. And they never found anything. I mean, the parachutes, anything.
They didn't find a parachute.
Right.
They didn't find
It
a
wasn't-
body. Nothing.
I thought they did find a parachute like years and years later, but I don't know if they really connected it to him or not, right? There was some
Possible, yeah.
sort of,
Yeah, probably, but
if I remember right.
yeah. It's
But yeah, I
possible
mean,
because everyone,
But like I said, I think there was some form of military training because it was nighttime. And George, you said that you jumped out of airplanes before, correct?
yeah.
Could,
Yeah.
could-
But
could-
yeah, there's a slight difference. I mean, we didn't have a cord to pull our chute.
Yeah.
Ours was a static line.
oh,
we
so
jumped
we're
out?
in that.
The jump out, the chute is open. Military, for the most part, doesn't skydive. We parachute for a reason.
Okay.
So
To
we're
get-
flying
to
at
get in
lower
fast or get out
speeds.
fast.
Yeah. Yeah, we're flying at low speeds and jumping out. And it's a static line.
Okay. But this was on a Boeing 727, a big, huge jet. So.
Yeah. And he jumped out at, I mean, they were 30 minutes into the flight, so they had to have been probably 30,000 feet at least.
Yeah. So he had to have some training, especially at night. So
Yeah.
unless he's just that good,
Oxygen.
So Becky, do you have anything? Jackie?
Not really a lot.
Ask him that.
What?
It's a halo jump. Anything over 10,000 feet is a halo jump, which means you're going to have oxygen. Where's the tank?
Oh, you
No.
just said anything over 10,000 feet, you need oxygen?
No.
It's a halo jump.
No, the halo jump was from like 3 miles up. He jumped from the inner
60,000
atmosphere.
feet.
Yeah, he jumped at like 60,000 feet. He set the record for the longest jump. He was way above. He was up in the atmosphere.
Yeah.
30,000 feet, you can't pull the chute right away. At 30,000 feet, you couldn't pull the chute right away because you're in the inner atmosphere.
Yeah.
You're above the cloud layer. Even if you don't see clouds in the sky, there's clouds in the sky at all time.
Yeah.
It's
You
just
still need to breathe.
Yeah, he could have imploded or something, you think?
He's got to breathe.
Yeah.
No idea.
30,000 feet. The only reason why why the airplane is pressurized is because you're moving at the faster than the speed of sound.
So, yeah.
That's the only reason why the cabin is pressurized.
You have oxygen. Where's the tank?
He didn't have a tank.
Yeah, yes,
Yeah,
he didn't have a
tank.
Didn't have a tank. And
Huh? Did he have a tank?
Do you have a tank?
fighter pilots do it all the time.
Oh,
30,000 feet.
Fighter
well,
pilot.
get the
Yeah.
hell
Oh yeah.
out, yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Easily.
Because they're in and because if they're jumping out of that plane, there's a reason they're jumping out of that plane, and so they got to
Yeah.
get
Usually
out
those
quick.
planes have tanks on. They dump the fluid.
I don't know.
Eh,
And
I don't know.
if
Yeah.
I'm not
I don't-
mistaken, I read that when he decided,
know.
he got up from his chair, put his
Yeah.
drink down, went down the stairs to whatever the back compartment thing is called. So he had to have an idea of the plane layout, because
right.
I'm just speculating. The average Joe just doesn't go on a massive 727 Boeing and know how to get to the back compartment and hit the open button. So he knew
Right. Right.
the layout. So that's why, in my mind, reading what I was reading today was, and I've always been fascinated by it, is he had to have some training, and I just chalked it up to some form of
Some
the
sort of
military
knowledge about
training.
planes and
So
stuff like that.
Right. Yeah.
If I'm correct, I think I watched some show where it might have been like a granddaughter or daughter was saying that she thought that maybe her father or grandfather was DB
Yep.
Cooper.
I think I saw
So-
that somewhere
I
too.
saw that too. Yep. I
Yeah.
can't remember the show. Maybe Unsolved
Mm.
Mysteries. Maybe they were copying us. But no,
Maybe.
I remember watching
It
that
could
show
be.
seriously, because if I'm not mistaken, and correct me if I'm wrong, the same person was saying that now this person wears a wig or wore a wig, because I remember the show that said that DB Cooper was actually a woman, but she wore a man's disguise. That's
Hmm.
the show I watched. So,
Is she
Yeah.
from Lodi?
oh, Jesus. Ladies and gentlemen, that is Mr. John from Nantucket.
The man from Nantucket.
Man from
And I'm not-
Nantucket.
The
And
man
we
from
all
Nantucket.
know the lyric.
Yeah, we know it.
Yep. But it's a family show. We don't do that on this show.
Right. Right.
All right. Becky, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I do whatever the hell I want.
Oh my goodness. No, I that could be, because you never know who that,
Right.
because we still don't really know who that person really was.
No.
Or
No.
what
Could
happened.
be anyone.
So,
But I will try to join everything together, like as far as unsolved mysteries. I mean, you would think with the golden is it the Golden Bridge
Well,
Killer,
Golden Bridge.
the California, the older guy that actually got caught, through genealogy. You would
Yeah.
think with all of
Oh,
that
yeah.
technology that we could definitely start,
Something somewhere.
I mean, Jack
naming
the,
all of these
I mean-
unsolved mysteries.
Jack the Ripper has never been identified. It was just
No.
certain crimes, and they don't even really know if his name was Jack. They just came up with the name
Yeah.
because Jack was a common British
Yeah.
name. And
They
the
did-
Ripper,
they
with
did
his
use-
crimes were gross.
They did use DNA. I read that last night. They did use DNA from his fourth victim, and it does point out there she had like a scarf on or something,
Mhm.
and it pointed to an Aaron. I don't know how to say his last name. Kaminsky, I think, who was a barber that lived in Hastings, England, but that doesn't mean that he was the killer. That just meant he touched her scarf.
Yeah.
What does that mean? Maybe, maybe
She
he
could have
met.
possibly been in the
you know.
barber shop with her
Well-
husband or something, and he picked it
Well,
up.
well, not just that. Jack the Ripper. Most of Jack the Ripper's victims were prostitutes.
Prostitutes. Yeah.
So maybe Aaron was with her before the Ripper got to her. So
Yeah.
that
It
doesn't
never-
mean, that means nothing, really. I mean,
Mhm.
it did find his DNA on her scarf, though.
Maybe you give her
But that was it. And
Yeah, it's just that's been Scotland Yard has not solved that case. That's still
No,
you know,
no.
It's basically closed, but it's you're obviously not going to be able to punish the person for what they did, but
Right,
it's still
right.
kind of creepy that there's still people out there like that are doing that type of stuff, and that's
Yeah.
a whole nother story. But it's just the technology we have now. We could be able to solve some of these cases. I mean, I know it's not exactly like CSI, on TV, because you don't get those DNA results back within 30 seconds, and I ran it
No,
through the
no,
database.
no.
It's this person. We obviously know it's
No.
not that. It takes a lot of time, and
No. Actually, yeah.
I think
Yeah.
I
It
think
takes forever.
I think if they were able to test that DNA, I mean, if that guy still wants to help Mrs. O'Connell get this case solved, I think
Right,
they have to
right.
really
Exactly.
get their head out of their butt. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
trying to be nice and not swear so much, but it seems like someone's trying to cover something up. I mean, why would they say no? You can't test. We want to solve the case. No, you can't test. It
Yeah.
doesn't make sense to me at all.
Right.
Maybe it's just because that's my way of thinking. But if you want to do the right thing, and they're supposed to be upholding the law and doing the right thing for the community, we need to put this to rest. It's been going on. It's
Exactly. Yeah.
39 years.
Yep.
Yeah.
Let's let her mother get some closure.
I was just thinking about something, and again, I'm not going to try to repeat myself, but who was the Unabomber? We all know him, right? Kaminsky, or something.
Ted
Yeah,
Kaminsky?
Ted.
Yeah.
So he was living in the woods, right? He was a genius. And you know how he got caught? It was his brother or sister-in-law that said, "Hey, this sounds like my brother-in-law or brother." I can't remember what was, but anyways,
Right.
that's how he got caught. Of course, that was in the 90s. Okay. I'm just saying again. I'm going to repeat myself, which I said I wouldn't do. Two people are in a bar. They said something, and nobody knows or describe them. I'm just saying, like.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't.
Right.
That was
I don't.
something new that I had never read or heard before. And I didn't hear anything about a blue Fiat. I heard something about darker late model Fords and Chevys. That's all I ever
Yeah.
heard.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That was
there
the
was
first time
one-
I had heard that as
there's
well
a
when I read it. When I read it the other night.
They were like possible like a Nova type car.
Could be a GTO too.
They said it was like the witness that had said he saw them as he was on his way into work at Willard. He in the middle of summer back then, people did walk around at 11:30, 12 o'clock at night because
Yeah.
you had the Buck, you had the Legion, you had the VFW, you had the Hilltop. We had four corners and over there that you could just go from bar to bar, and
Yep.
it was just it was a very small village. It's not that big, and
No, it's not.
I just it's still right now. It still bothers me that it's not solved.
Right.
And I don't like I said. I
Same.
mean, I could go on for hours about things that I've been told, but it's all hearsay. There's
Right.
no concrete proof. I mean, there's stuff certain people have told me, a certain bartender that I used to be friends with,
Why we talk?
and just they've heard things and they've said things, but unless they actually have proof, you can't say that it's this person. I mean, if you go
Exactly.
on,
Right.
if you go
I
on
mean, there
some,
was even
if you go on,
there.
if you go on some of the pages like on Facebook, they're trying to nail it on, someone that we've all known since we were, that age. And it doesn't seem possible, but it could be possible. It's just it's not. It's almost like they're doing like a witch hunt after two separate people on the two separate pages on Facebook.
And that's usually how it goes.
One's really going after one person, one's going after another, and I'm like, then just do the DNA test, get it done and over with, because all these
Exactly.
people have already submitted DNA.
Hey Jeff, I just want to
Mhm.
say one thing. And I wasn't here. I was 11 years old in Massachusetts. But I heard some of the shit about this, and it's not shit to me. The woman needs to find closure. I get that. But in order to get the closure, she needs to get the fucking asshole detectives out of it, which are little low rent PIs. They don't know what the fuck they're talking about. They need to stop because they're putting a stump on everything going on.
I think that's a lot of
They're
what it
screwing
is.
it all up, and it's Mrs. O'Connell's problem because she hired the idiots,
Yep, those PIs were going around.
blaming everybody, and they weren't even here.
Yes, they were like trying to get people
To admit something they didn't do.
something that they didn't do. They were trying to get me to say I was there, and I'm like, dude, I was 9 years old.
Yeah, she ran up.
I'm like, you know, I know nothing. How am I supposed to know about this stuff? I was 9. I can tell you, I was with my sisters that night because my dad had the big fan in his room, and he had cable in his room. Because remember back then, you had to pay, you know, so much for each box. There's only two boxes in the house, and it was too hot downstairs, so we were all in my dad's room because he worked nights. And it's like, how am I supposed to know this crap? You know?
I think
So,
Jackie had something to say. Jackie,
Well, I
go
was
ahead.
just gonna say they
Yeah.
were even thinking that there was somebody that was in jail already that may have done
Yeah.
it, but
Yeah.
Yeah,
there's all sorts
They-
of stories.
yeah. There was
And
there's
that's
a
the
couple
sad
people
thing
that they started to name way back then, and one of them was obvious, it was completely debunked that he obviously did not do it. His DNA was not found anywhere near her. And you know, he was a local kid that, you know, you could see him doing something like that, but you know, with him being at Rikers for as long as he's been, we all know that, you know,
Yeah.
you know.
So
Well, no, he lived in Ovid at the
I'm
time,
sure he did.
but
But
they all wanted to blame him because of a certain color,
yeah.
which
Jeff,
that was wrong.
But
Jeff,
you know,
What?
sometimes as the time goes, you know, it has to be this guy. Oh, I definitely this guy. Just because somebody might be different and or whatever, and that's so sad that.
Yeah, they were. I remember when they were jumping all over it trying to get him tested, and he's like, "Yeah, sure, take my DNA. I didn't do it."
Right.
And
Right.
you know, I remember that family well. I'm sure most of us that grew up in that area remember them well too. And I mean, I'm sure we could all picture it happening, but at the same time, if DNA for him says no, then it means no. So you got to back off that. You know.
And Jeff, like I'm saying, I apologize for jumping in on this, but I got to tell you this right now.
You're good.
I
You're good.
know Mr. O'Connell. I know people that were in touch with her later on in life, and they're still trying to find out. But all these people that are involved, they all say the one thing. The investigators already asked us that question. The investigators need to back off and get out of the damn state. If they do that,
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
bet you they'll find a killer.
Yeah,
I bet you they'll
I
find
agree.
it.
there's the two private investigators that were like bothering me, you know, and I'm like, dude, I didn't do anything. I was 9 years old.
They want to ridicule her.
And they're like, yeah, but you know there's somebody that you know that could be involved. And I'm like,
Yeah, but we're not doing that.
so then go talk to them. I have nothing to do with it. You know, I'm like, it's just it's not. It's to me, it's the whole topic is, to me, it's frustrating because, like I said, her mother needs closure, you know.
Right.
But at the same time, you can't accuse every single person that lived in that town and tell everybody that they're a bunch of scumbags because your daughter died there.
Again,
You know,
this woman
we're not
this woman
all
hired
like
these
that.
private investigators. She wants answers. I get it, but these
Yeah.
private investigators are picking on everybody.
Yeah.
No,
I mean, they were
hopefully-
talking to all
hopefully-
sorts of people. A lot of people that I knew were cornered by these guys too, and it's like,
No,
just because we live here and grew up here doesn't mean that we all know what happened.
they're looking for the buck. All they want is the money.
Yep.
Hopefully, this thing on this
No.
show might.
Saint.
But does anybody have anything to add in closing?
There you go. Touch the thing, George. There you go.
Miss Jackie, go ahead.
It's just sad that there isn't any closure at this time, you know. So
Agreed.
that's all I got to say.
Mr. George, you have anything to add or in closing?
No, I think we definitely touched on several that were, were good. Maybe if we do a second one, we could touch on a few other famous ones, and maybe we'll pick
Definitely.
another upstate New York one. Because there was the one that happened in the southern tier that a lot of people think got buried because of when it happened. It happened right after 9/11. So
Okay,
a lot of people think it got buried because of that.
Yeah, that
you
could
start
be it.
making notes, and
Yeah.
we'll run with the show. We'll do a
We're
part two.
we're
Yeah.
doing our best.
Yeah.
I did not take any notes. I'm just going off this, so y'all know
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
It's fucked up.
Yeah.
It's already
Yeah.
fucked up.
So, yeah, we'll definitely do a part two. Again, I want to thank George and Jackie and Becky and John for we're trying to come together for a better cause and to it's something that we shared or said that helps trigger something or leads to something and get Mrs. O'Connell some closure that her she desperately needs. I hope so. We're trying to change lives here while we have fun and stuff like that. I want to thank you
Maybe
guys.
someone will remember something.
Maybe. I just want to say thank you to you guys for taking time. I know we all had a busy day. I just want to end it with saying we never mention names in a negative way here, but we live in a great state that I want to say fuck off to the energy place. That's just my closer. I'm not gonna mention names. But anyway, listen.
So
Go ahead, George. Go ahead.
There must be a conspiracy theory going because your light's working.
Now she's cold.
Your light last week that
Not
wouldn't work,
mine.
now it's working.
Jeez.
Maybe,
That-
maybe. I don't know.
That's a conspiracy theory right
What's
there.
that?
But listen, I'm gonna let you lovely, beautiful people go. Thank you for getting Molly and Honey in the picture, and thank you for getting your dog in the picture. Jackie, have a great night. Becky, have a great night. John, I miss you, buddy. George,
There
I'm
you
gonna
go.
grab it.
Yeah,
George,
yeah, yeah.
I'm gonna
You
grab
guys
it
can
next
do
time.
the shower scene the
All
next
right.
time you come over. I promise.
All right, love
Good
you guys.
night.
See
Bye.
you guys
Bye.
later.
Guys.
Oh, damn it! Almost did it again.